me, Mr. Sean. It's so great to be back together in our series, I Am Set Apart. Last week, we talked about how God has given each of us gifts or special skills and abilities in order for us to do the specific things that God designed for us to do. We also talked about how no one else in the world has the same gifts as you in the same way. You're unique and you are perfect. This week, we're going to talk about a word that you hear a lot in church and even outside of church. That word is holy. Outside of church, you might hear people say things like holy mackerel or holy cow or even holy moly. I'm not sure what the word holy means when people use it like that, but in church, we hear the word holy a lot too. When we use the word holy in church, it means set apart for God. The Bible talks about a lot of things that are holy. When the Israelites built the temple to worship God, the temple was considered holy, meaning it was set apart for praising and worshiping God. It was not to be used for anything else. Even some of the tools that were used in the temple for things like sacrifices or burning incense were holy and not to be used for anything else. For instance, a bowl in the temple was set apart to be used in the temple. No one should use that same bowl to eat a salad or have a bowl of Fruit Loops for breakfast. Things can be holy or set apart from God. The Bible also says that people should be holy. Let's look at this week's Bible verse. It's in 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 14 through 16. It says, "As obedient children, do not conform to the evil desires you had when you lived in ignorance. But just as he who called you is holy, so be holy in all you do. For it is written, 'Be holy, because I am holy.'" This part of the Bible is talking to people who've accepted Jesus as their Savior. It's telling us that before we came to know and love Jesus, we did some wrong stuff because we didn't know any better. Have you ever made a bad choice because you didn't know any better? I have. When I was little, my mom used to keep this green bottle of lemon juice in the refrigerator. She would use it in recipes sometimes. One day, my older brother filled a cup with some of the lemon juice and dared me to take a drink. Well, I had never tasted lemon juice by itself before. I guess I thought that it couldn't be so bad since my mom used it to cook with. Boy, was I wrong. I took a big swallow of that lemon juice and my lips puckered up and tears began to stream down my face. It was so sour. What an awful experience. But do you know what? I learned something from that experience. I don't ever want to drink straight lemon juice again. But what if I didn't learn that lesson and my brother dared me to drink the lemon juice again the next day? If I did it again, that wouldn't be very wise, because I would go through that same awful experience all over again. That's exactly what our verse is trying to tell us. Don't go back to making the mistakes we made in our life before we knew Jesus, because that wouldn't be wise. Now that we know and love Jesus, we should try not to make the mistakes we used to make. Now we know better. We know that those bad choices lead to bad consequences. None of us is perfect, and this verse isn't telling us that we should be perfect. It is saying we should live a life that is devoted to God by doing the things that God has called us to do. If we want to live a life of blessings, we need to set apart our life for God. Well, that's it for now, boys and girls. I will see you next week to talk more about being set apart for God.